Welcome back to my kitchen, and welcome back to the third and final part of the vegan Indian food series that I'm doing here. In the first two parts I showed you how to make perfectly cooked basmati rice and vegan naan, and in this one, as I promised, I'm showing you how to make Chana Masala. So Chana Masala is a chickpea dish. It's basically a chickpea and tomato curry, essentially, is a good way to think about it. It's a dish that's very popular in India, and it's served by street vendors. They make it on the street and sell it. It's kind of like a street food. They usually sell it with something, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called a chole, but it is a flatbread also made of chickpeas. And it's supposed to be very good. I've never had that before. I usually just make naan with it. And so we're gonna get an onion diced up here as our first step. I've got a saute pan over there heating up, and already I am crying from this onion. But we've got a saute pan heating up over there on roughly a medium to medium low heat. And we're gonna add in some oil and some cumin seed, and then these onions here, which I'm getting chopped up right now. And I might have to take a minute to blow my nose if these onions get to me real bad. If you watched my Italian sausage with peppers and onions video, talked a bit about my problem with onions. I just tend to have a really severe sensitivity to onions, on top of the fact that my knife isn't very sharp, and so when I cut onions I almost always start tearing up and my nose starts running, which is what's happening right now, so apologies for that. But we're just gonna get this onion real quick, quickly done. And I can't see anything. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so we'll get the top and tail off of it and just dice it up. And I'm going to take just a second to blow my nose real quick. I'll cut it out. Okay, sorry about that. So like I said, we're just getting this onion diced up here. And I'm just going with 3 down the middle there, and then some vertical cuts as well. And that helps to get a nice even dice on the onion. It's the easiest way that I've found to dice an onion. If you have a really sharp knife, it's even easier. But the onion doesn't have to be perfect. You can dice it however. You can do a rough dice, you can do a fine dice. Onions, chilies, garlic, and ginger are the base of most vegan cuisine. So onions, as long as they're present, doesn't really matter how they're sliced or chopped. You just gotta have them in there. And as you can see here, I've got 2 cans of chickpeas that are already rinsed and drained. And we've got a couple cans of tomatoes that we're gonna add as well. So let's get this going over here first. So pan's been heating up. I'm gonna take it up to about a medium. Couple of tablespoons of grapeseed oil here. You want enough to where when you put the cumin seeds in, they sizzle and crackle, and you want to bloom them in the oil before you add the onion. So we're gonna go our cumin seeds, whole cumin seeds, about 1 to 2 teaspoons, and you can hear them already cracking. And just swirl them around, and just go straight in with the onion. All right. And we'll start mixing that up. Alright, I'm going to drop the heat just a little bit because I have some other stuff to do. I don't want this to cook too quick. We just want to start to soften these onions. You don't have to get any color on them necessarily, but you do want to soften them. And you don't really want to burn those cumin seeds as well, so it's always nice to drop the heat a little bit when you go into this part of the process. But just leave those onions on there, and we'll get started on the next bit, which is going to be a garlic ginger paste with I'm going to use 3 chilies in this recipe, so it's going to be pretty warm. or pretty spicy I should say. I like a lot of heat. You could use the chilies and de-seed them, or you could just maybe only use one chili if you don't want too much heat. But this will be quite spicy in the end. So, and I can see one of my chilies here starting to go a little bit bad. I can see the seeds on it are starting to brown, but it'll be okay for the dish. You just don't want to let them go for too long. You need to use them before they start doing that. So we'll go with chilies here into the mortar and pestle, and you don't have to use a mortar and pestle. I used to use a blender or a food processor for this part. It's gonna be 6 cloves of garlic here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bash them all. And after I bash these, I'm gonna swirl my onions a little bit. It's one thing about doing dishes like this is you just have to be aware of what's going on over on the stove, because you don't want anything to burn, especially not your aromatics. So if you burn your aromatics, like your cumin seeds, then you're gonna have a burnt tasting dish, and that is not good. So let's peel this garlic and we'll add it straight into the mortar and pestle. And you could get this ready before you even start the onions, but I like to do all the prep and things like that quickly. Actually, let me get the little nub off the end of the garlic first. I like to do that. I like to do the prep on camera for you all, just so you know that it's doable and that it's possible, and that I'm not, you know, kind of cutting this whole video together into a 5 or 10 minute video. I want you to see what the process is like for me. And my nose is still running. I've really got to sharpen my knife so that doesn't happen anymore, but sometimes I get a little lazy on that. But yeah, I just want you guys to be able to see basically from start to finish how you can cook these dishes. So that's why I tend to leave in the prep and leave in certain aspects that maybe some other people would cut out. But by all means, if you want to see shorter videos in general, just let me know in the comments down below, because I'm open to anything, as long as people are getting these recipes and trying more plant-based foods and adding more diverse foods to their diet. That's sort of the goal that I'm going for. So as long as that's happening, I'm happy. All right, that and one more clove of garlic. And like I say in every video, I do hate peeling garlic, but I do love the taste of garlic, so it's always worth it in the end. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain. Garlic gets real sticky on your hands. All right, so we got the garlic and the chilies. Excuse me. And we're gonna get some ginger here. And you're gonna want probably, I would say, about a tablespoon of ginger. But if you're going by the size of the nub, probably about the size of a nub here. About the size of your index finger. Or maybe your pinky finger is probably more accurate. And contrary to popular belief, you really don't need to get all of that skin off of the ginger. It just comes down to a preference thing. Most people think automatically that you're supposed to take it off, but you can leave a little bit of it on if you want. And I will occasionally, just to save time. And for the ginger, I'm going to chop it up so that it's easier to mash in the mortar and pestle. Okay, so garlic and ginger and chilies. And I'm gonna blow my nose one more time because it's just gonna start bugging people. Okay, and the last ingredient into the mortar and pestle is gonna be about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of cilantro, and I just slice it right off like that and go straight in. And check on our onions. And they're softening. They're really not doing a whole lot right now, just kind of hanging out. Trying to heat up a little bit. and we'll start mashing. So you want to mash down first like this, pulverize that stuff, and you'll start to get hit in the face by a lot of aromas. But we're going for a paste here, so just keep mashing until you start to get a bit of a paste. And then you can kind of start grinding it around like that. And a little bit of salt helps in this situation to grind stuff up. And the tomatoes that I'm using are no salt added, so it's okay to add some salt here and there in this recipe. Alright, and then circular motions. And you can see we're starting to get a paste out of this. All of those oils from the garlic and the ginger and the coriander and the chilies are releasing. It's a very, very nice smell here. Wish you were here, you could smell it. Alright, let's get that scraped off. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like, or what it should look like. Should look about like this here. Coriander and ginger pieces and garlic pieces all one and the same. Alright, let's give this another mix. Onions are good. Cumin looks good. Add just a pinch of salt in here, and we'll go straight in with our paste. And you just want to make sure you get it all out, because it's all that flavor. Don't want to let any of it go to waste. Alright, that's perfect. Now mix that around. And chili's gonna get me again. Like I say in every video, when I cook with chilies, throw it in a hot pan, it always blows me up. Alright, so get that mixed in real well and just stir it around in the pan. And the next step we're gonna do is add some coriander, some turmeric, and some chili powder. And it's going to be about a tablespoon of coriander. I'm just slightly short of a tablespoon here, so I'm just going to add all of this. And this is ground coriander. It's going to be about a teaspoon each of turmeric and chili powder. Now mine is an extra hot chili powder, so I'm not going to go a full teaspoon. I'm going to go about half teaspoon here, because I've already got 3 chilies in here. And I'm cooking for me and my partner Rachel, so I don't think she wants 3 chilies and a whole teaspoon of extra hot chili powder here, but whole teaspoon of turmeric, and we got our coriander in there. Another pinch of salt. Season as you go. Stir that all around. Should be very, very fragrant at this point. You should be smelling everything that you put in here, but especially the garlic and the ginger and the chili. Alright, excuse me. Alright, just gonna mix that around. That's looking pretty good. And my onion was actually quite small. I could have done probably another half an onion, but it's okay. Normally I would use a white onion in this for this recipe, but I only had red, so just made it with red. Just no big deal. Alright, so let's get our next 2 ingredients ready. That's going to be the 2 cans of chickpeas, drained and rinsed, and 2 cans of what I'm using is petite diced petite diced tomatoes. You can use a whole 28-ounce can of tomato puree. I've done that before. It comes out a little more tomato saucy. With the petite diced, you get nice potato or I keep saying potato. You get nice tomato chunks in it. So we're gonna add those right now. We'll go ahead and add the chickpeas. You can add those along with the tomatoes at the same time. And it's always good to spill a little bit on yourself. All right. And like I said, because these are no salt added, I'm going to add a little more salt. And just a flash of pepper here. All right, now you just want to work everything together here. Get it nicely incorporated. And it already looks delicious. This is a really, really good dish to start into your kind of Indian food journey with. When I first started eating at Indian restaurants, the Chana Masala was the one thing that I always went for because it was the most recognizable, and it's generally like the guaranteed vegan item on the menu, even though in Indian cuisine there's a lot of other Indian food, or excuse me, a lot of other vegan food, but generally they don't use ghee when they make garam masala. It's like the one dish that I've seen to be always vegan no matter what. That's another thing you have to watch out for when you eat out at Indian restaurants. You got to check with them and make sure they're not cooking with ghee, because ghee is a clarified butter, and comes from, you know, from dairy and from cows. So if they're cooking with ghee, it's not going to be a vegan choice, and sometimes they won't mention that. And I'm just going to add just a little bit here. Just ignore my dirty sink here. A little bit of water, just about a 1/4 cup of water. And we are going to go ahead and bring that up to a simmer. And once it's at a simmer, so I'm going to turn it up on high, and then once it comes up to a pretty good simmer, I'm going to drop it down to about a medium low and let it cook for 20 minutes. So you can see over here it's already starting to bubble, and that simmer will distribute nicely throughout. And I'll throw this over here. All right. So yeah, we've got a decent simmer going over here on the edges, and I can see it's starting to bubble up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut, and then we'll be back in around about 15 to 20 minutes when this is cooked down quite a bit. All right. Okay, we're back, and the Chana Masala has been cooking down for about 15 to 20 minutes, and you can see now it's a nice stew consistency. It looks definitely a lot more like a curry. There's one thing that I forgot to add before I went away, and that's just a couple teaspoons of sugar. And the reason why we're adding a little sugar to this is because of the acidity of the canned tomatoes. So the sugar is just going to help knock back a bit of that acidity from those canned tomatoes. The other thing we want to add is a couple of teaspoons of garam masala, probably about 1 to 2 teaspoons of it. And that's of course the masala of the Chana Masala. And the last thing that we'll add will be a little squeeze of a lemon. And you just want to make sure that those seeds are out of there. All right. So aside from that, we've got the naan from part 2 heating up here on the griddle, which you can see that we've enjoyed some of that. If you haven't seen that recipe, find it, or I'll link it at the end of the video here, and you can watch it. And let me just flip these over because they're heating up. And we've got the rice from part 1 here, the perfectly cooked basmati. When I reheat this, I just throw it in a little frying pan, little you know, just a little drip of water, maybe about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of water, and just stick the lid on it and let it kind of steam back up to heat. And we're gonna mix in that sugar, and sorry, my dogs are going on. I'm gonna mix in that sugar and garam masala. Is someone at the door?
I think it was a firework.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're just gonna mix this together, and that's pretty much ready. So we're gonna cut the heat on it. Our naans are almost up to heat. Our rice is pretty much there as well, and we will plate up. And you can add another squeeze of lemon at the end if you think it needs a little more. All right, grab this guy. All right, gonna get a couple of nice scoops of that basmati here. And we'll use our same scoop for our chana masala. And you can kind of eyeball the chana masala and get it down to whatever consistency feels right for you. Generally, it's more of a stew than a soup. You know, like a stew or a curry. And that looks pretty good, actually. And we'll go ahead and cut the heat on that and the rice. Make sure that's off. And grab a piece of this naan as well. All right. And a couple last things that we're gonna add is some cilantro, some fresh cilantro. And I just like to rip this and lay it right on top here. A couple of little sprigs, a couple of leaves. Perfect. Even a little bit on the rice as well. All right. And some of this yogurt that we used from the naan video as well, it goes great with this. The way that we talk about it is it's kind of like sour cream on chili. That's what yogurt is for Indian food. So I like to do just a light drizzle right on top like that. Oops, a little bit extra there, never hurt anybody. All right, cap that off and get it up here in the light. This is the final dish, what the 3-part series has been all about. We've got our perfectly cooked basmati from part 1, our vegan garlic naan from part 2, and our lovely chana masala was finished with some cilantro and some Kite Hill almond yogurt. And let me get a little fork out and we will give it a try. Got to get a nice bite here. There we go. Wow. You really got to try this. The chana masala itself is such a nice flavor. And the way we did those chilies with the garlic and the ginger and the coriander, it all came together really well. Just gives it so much flavor. And the best thing to do with this naan is to get a little scoop of it. It's so hot. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. It's so hot. Ooh, 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 it's burning my fingers. Wow. Like I said, that garlic naan is just the perfect vessel for slopping up all this great chana masala flavor. And along with the rice, that perfectly cooked pillowy basmati. It's so delicious. Oh, wow, I'm definitely gonna... Okay, sorry about that. The camera died right as the video was coming to an end here, so I'm just having to piece this together now. Anyway, as I was saying, just try this chana masala because it's just a perfect introduction to vegan cuisine. And I can hear Millie down here whining because she wants some. But try it alongside this naan. Like I said, that naan recipe is really easy to make, and that basmati method that I showed you in part 1 is absolutely perfect. It comes out just a-okay, just perfect rice. So yeah, if you enjoyed this 3-part series, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more daily vegan content. And let me know down low in the comments how your dish turned out, if you tried any of this, and also if there's anything in particular that you want to see cooked on the channel. I would love to hear from you. So again, like I said, thanks for watching and thanks for tuning in and hanging out in my kitchen, and I hope you go and try some vegan Indian food, and specifically try this dish here. So all right, have a good one, guys. I'll see you on the next one.